Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Hmm. Y'all come on in. We got to talk about it. It is time to talk about it. Hmm. Crazy, crazy word. Let's go ahead and get started. But good evening, my good people. Welcome back to the P-Ave Perspective. I'm your host, Mr. O'Neill, and we're live right here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. God willing. But if you're watching the live stream or whether you're watching the replay of the video that I post on YouTube, I appreciate you tuning in this week and spending this time with me. But if you're watching right now live, I need you to do me a favor right now. Like, share the video, and tag somebody who needs to hear this conversation tonight. It's all about reaching as many people as we can. That's what it's all about. And if you'd like to make a donation to the show, the Cash App, I think, is at the bottom. $ Mr. O'Neill 214. But this week, as always, we are talking about something that is very important to me. We're talking about tradition. And as crazy as it may sound, we talking about a tradition that a lot of us didn't even get a chance to see or witness. And that's crazy. When I was working on this episode just to think about that. We're talking about something that affects every part of our lives, but honestly and truly, so many people I know personally never got a chance to actually witness this. And that's why I continuously say that I am blessed, because although life got rougher and life took a turn for the bad later, I got a chance to see the Black family structure in action. And I think that is the difference between the man I am, the man I've always been, and a lot of other people that I've come in contact with and been around in my life. But the title of the show is Rebuilding the Foundation, the Power of the Black Family Structure. The power of the Black family structure. This is crazy, but when I talk about the Black family structure, I'm not just talking about relationships, not just dating, but the foundation of how we build strong individuals, strong families, and strong communities. This is all we talk about on this show. This is all we've been talking about on this show. And the family is the foundation of it, or it was. You know what I'm saying? This family structure is so rare right now that I really can't, in this day and age, I really haven't seen it. I really haven't seen somebody with, like I said, the traditional family structure. And even growing up in the hood, no lie, I saw one person, one guy that I knew who had his mom and dad and who was raised under the traditional family structure, him and his sister. But like I said, I don't, put people names out here. But one guy from P-Ave, one guy that I knew that had his mom and dad and that was raised under the traditional family structure. And that man and his sister are both successful, right here today. And I know it's a lot to do with that, being raised under that family structure. But first of all, let me be clear from the start. I speak what's real. I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm not trying to belittle anybody. I'm not trying to call each other out. But this is about restoring something that made us powerful as a people. This is the foundation of our power. There was a time when the Black family wasn't just surviving like we doing now or in disarray, but we were building. We were building businesses. We were building legacies. We were building communities. We were building wealth, and we were building influence. All from this family structure. And it all started, basically, this is the foundation of it. It starts with a man and a woman coming together with shared morals, shared values, shared purpose. And it wasn't, believe it or not, it wasn't just random. They didn't come together because he was cute or she was fine or he had a little money or she had a little, it wasn't about none of that we come together and we try to build relationships on today. It wasn't random. It was intentional. Everything was intentional. And when you get right down to it, the traditional family structure was first a man who understood his purpose, a man that was led by God, disciplined, focused, building. That was the foundation. Next came the woman who understood her value, was supportive, nurturing, and aligned with purpose, aligned with his purpose. Similar goals, basically the same morals and values, similar purpose in life. But together, those two made a commitment to ride with each other through the struggle, through the growth, and through the hard times. We look at the vows for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Nowadays, they just say it because it sounds good. But that was the foundation. That was the foundation. They didn't start with everything. They started with what they had. And they built. They built. They built. I'm gonna break this down to you. Because I got a chance to see this myself. And it's the same way that I wanted to live my life. But I'm gonna tell you one of the most vital rituals that we saw, or the most, what do you call it? Traditions. One of the most crucial traditions that I saw in traditional marriages was the courting phase. The courting phase. Think about that. Courting. In this world, I hear a lot of women nowadays talk down on women and say they didn't have rights, or they just had to put up with stuff back then. But think about it. Women back then knew their value. Their families knew their value. So back then, you couldn't just, run up on nobody and shoot your shot, or jump on the phone or jump on the internet and jump in somebody's inbox, to shoot your shot. Back then, you had to court a woman if you wanted a woman. And what that meant was, me, for instance, if I liked a woman, I had to get permission to court that woman. I just couldn't jump in her inbox. I just couldn't pull up and blow and she run out and hop in the car. Or I couldn't just, she sneak out the window or sneak out like it go down now. You know what I'm saying? Everything was by design. So me as a young man back then, any girl that I wanted to talk to, I would have had to court this girl. And before I could do too much of anything, I had to go to this girl's father and I had to get his permission to court his daughter. Now think about that, because right now we protection is big. Protecting our women and this and that, they're protecting our women is big right now. It's a big discussion right now. But think about that. Before I could even make a real move on this young lady, I had to go to her home to ask her dad for permission to court her. Think about that. Because I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to have the same structure in my daughter's lives when it came to them, but their mothers had different plans. But think about this. As a young man going to ask this man, could I court his daughter? I had to sit down with this man and have a real conversation with this man. Usually the first question that man would ask a young man that's looking to court his daughter is, in our language, who your people is. Who are your people? Who are your people? Who is your family? Because that told so much about who that young man was. Who is your dad? Who is your mom? That told who raised his kid. That told what are his morals and values, because the family instilled that in these kids. That was the first question that they would ask the young man coming to court their daughter. Who are your family? Because your family if they carry respect, if they were respectable people, if they were hardworking people, then that was a plus for you. But your family, who is your family? Who is your family? And the next question that dad would usually ask is, why do you want to date my daughter? And just like I said, I practiced this. I grew up in the chance to see this. I wanted to do this so bad with my wife, but God forbid her father passed away. I practiced this because I knew as a man, before you could give your daughter to another young man, that man had to be on his game. And just like I said, when the father said, "What do you want with my daughter? Why do you want to see my daughter?" That meant, what are your plans and what are your goals for life? You know what I'm saying? That dude had to get screened before he could talk to that young lady. He had to make sure his parents or his morals and values were in place. He was raised with morals and values and respect, and he had a plan for life. He had a plan for life, no matter what that was. He had to let that father or that father know, I have some kind of plans for my life, and I want your daughter to be a part of that. I want to make your daughter a part of that. But the key thing was, before you could go sit down with this man's daughter, before you could entertain this man's daughter, you had to have your pedigree checked, man. He had to check out who you were. He had to check your motives. Think about that today, ladies. Think about that today. Because I guarantee you, I tell my daughters all the time, if they could have been around me and went through the courting phase, they wouldn't have met half of the bullcrap men that they met today. But these days, they don't do that. They sneak around. Well, I'm not going to let you meet my dad. I'm not going to let you meet my mom. Or they, contact, through text or through social media. And no, I don't want you to meet my parents. Or I don't want you to this because my daddy mean, or my daddy's going to do this, or my daddy's going to do that. Think about that for a minute. Because I tell my daughters all the time, don't never ask me to give you away, because I'm not giving you away. Because if I do give you away, if he don't treat you right, I'm coming back to get you. I will come back to get you. I let them know that I fall back as I can remember, because I don't play. But think about that. That one thing alone shows you the whole different makeup of family. And then think about it when we talk about marriage, because y'all, like you said, y'all have relationships now, and y'all, but look at this family structure. Okay. If this guy was allowed to court this young lady, he had to talk to her uncles. He had to talk to her brothers. He had to, just like this young lady. This young lady, you know what I'm saying, not only had her mother to lean on for support, but she had an extended family. When these two decided to get married, those two families were really becoming one family unit. So think about it. As a man, you didn't have to figure it out by yourself, because not only did you have your daddy there who had years of experience for you to call on, but you also had your father-in-law who considered you a son because you were marrying his daughter. So both of those men came together to be your support system to help you get it right. And with the young lady, not only did she have her mother, but she had her mother-in-law to form the unit, that her support group that she needed to make sure she was always, on point and doing it right. And that extended family became the support system. So while people say, oh, well, those women back then, they just stayed home, so they didn't know. You had women, that families back then, that both of them worked. And the extended family, the grandparents, helped take care of the kids. Or depending on what they decided, maybe she stayed at home and just focused on taking care of the kids and doing it up. But like, we always try to make excuses for that family structure back then, but it worked. It helped create women who worked, women who built their own businesses, and women who built, you know what I'm saying, their own legacies beside their husband or aside from. And you had those who helped their husbands build businesses, and do all of that. So when I hear people today, when we talk about back then, these people that don't know will say, oh, those women, they this and they that, and they're this and they're that. And no, that was a real family structure. That was a real unit. And just that one element, the courting element, shows you how strong the family unit was, how people within that family unit were protected, and how that family unit was built and grown. It shows out of that. But the key thing is families supported each other, regardless of what. Communities were interconnected. Families were interconnected. Families with when those kids married, they became a unit, the entire family. Children saw unity, children saw discipline, and children saw purpose daily. That's how it was built. But children back then, they weren't just raised. Because they were open to that extended family, they were developed. And believe me, anybody that knows me, God knows I had kids by different women. But my mother, my sisters, my girlfriends, my kids, everybody I can say worked as a unit to help me raise my kids. That is the same family, that is the same village I developed, the same village I saw develop back then. The same village. There was never a time where my kids' mothers didn't have help. Even when I couldn't help them, I had somebody just to call away. Well, hey, can you get the kids? I need to do this. Hey, I can't get them, but if you can drop them off here, that person there will watch them until I can get to them. So you can do what you have to do. Family, support. Now, because like people do nowadays, because people can't control one parent or the other, they take and go do other stuff, but that's a different story. Real families were about support. But we got to look at the history of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we as Black people have always built strong systems when we had structure. You can take it back to Africa. You can take it to oppression, slavery. Why do you think they tried to destroy the family structure in slavery? Look at the history of it. When they tell you they tried to turn the women against the men and this and that, like, yeah, they did that. But how did it work? What happened when we got out of slavery? What happened when we got out of slavery? What did we do? We created businesses. We created schools. We created our own churches. We built entire communities. Off of what? Off the family structure. Off that same family structure. We didn't wait for permission. We built. We came together. We found a woman who shared our purpose or who wanted to support us and share. And it, just like I said, think about it. Let's just be realistic nowadays, because everybody happy. Do you think those people was always happy? Think about it. Do you think those people always had the best of everything? The women had the Louis V purses or the red bottoms or what? Do you think that what it was about? Do you really think that was what it's about? No, it was about purpose. It was about family. It was about building something that you could be proud of and that you could leave to your family. If it wasn't nothing but a house or some land, a business, credibility. It was about being the best version of yourself in your life and doing something that you could pass on to your kids. Because as men, when we dead and gone, ain't nobody gonna remember us. You might have a few people that pour out a little liquor for you. But I always poured into my kids because I know they carry on when I'm gone. That's why I wanted to make sure they all had my last name and make sure I had direct impact on all of their lives, their morals, their values, how they were raised, and how they would turn out. Because when I'm dead and gone, hopefully that my name is going to live on. And what I try to teach them, hopefully they got it. Hopefully they got it. But that's what it was about. That's why a mother and a dad worked together. We didn't have all this, talking down on your dad or telling the kids about their dad and their dad ain't this and their dad ain't that. We didn't have women that was, talking about their mothers and fathers, because regardless of whether they were together or not, they were respected. You would never hear me, and I done raised my kids. You would never hear me saying, I'm going to celebrate Mother's Day because I had to be a mother too. You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that. People had too much respect for each other, regardless of their relationship. They never tarnished the relationship that those kids had with their fathers or their mothers because it was about respect. But look at everything. Look at Black Wall Street. You know, that didn't come from chaos. That came from strong family units, strong families. You know, economic cooperation, shared values, strategic marriages, alliances. Think about that. Even marriages were sometimes strategic, not just about feelings, not just about because he cute or he got dreads, not just because he told you he wants you to have his baby. It wasn't about that. It wasn't about that. It was about legacy. It was about power. It was about unity. It was about growth and development. Growth and development. I'm not just choosing a woman because she's pretty or because her butt fat. I'm choosing a woman who can help me grow as a person. I'm choosing a woman who I can help grow as a person. As a king, I want my queen to be the best. I want her to know everything that I know and accomplish all that she can accomplish because she represents me and I represent her. And my kids are watching. So even when I wasn't with my kids' mother, I was always there for them. I always tried to be there for them 100%. Never talk down on them and always try to uplift them because I know my kids are watching you. My daughters are watching you. My daughters are watching you. So regardless of whether they with their man or not, they know based on their dad was there. Their dad was there. Even when their mom tried to say he couldn't be, he was there. That's called being a family. But this is when it get real. This is where it gets real. But that kind of family structure, that kind of family unity, that kind of shared morals and values made us independent. It made us independent. And when you're independent, you can't be controlled. And look at us now. We're controlled by the system because the system keep mothers and fathers competing against each other. They keep men and women saying, oh, well, you know, black men are the worst or all black women are the worst. That helps keep us under control. But let's go back. Just like I said earlier, during slavery, families were separated. Fathers were removed. You had slave owners that if you got too comfortable talking about you married, they would sell your wife and kids, or they would sell the husband just to try to destroy that, just to try to destroy you feeling like you had a man that could protect you. But they tried to destroy our unity. They did everything they could. But like I said, what happened afterwards? What happened after we got free? Did we say, oh, we don't need no man? Oh, I don't need no man because I watched him get whooped. He can't do nothing for me. No, because we understood our power from ancient times. Let's come together, find you somebody who's going to support you in your goals and your dreams. Ask God to show you your purpose. And that's where a lot of us, let me break it up. That's where a lot of us lose right now because a lot of these young people, they moving fast too quick. Because think about it, like it's about sex now. It's about sex now. I talk to my daughters, and my daughters are telling me these young dudes out here saying they want you to have a baby. They're not even saying they want you to be a wife. And women, you know what I'm saying, are wondering why, you know, like y'all jumping in relationships with these dudes, and y'all don't have no earthly idea what they all about. Dudes matured in that system back then where you were raised around that. At a certain age, you knew what you wanted to do with your life. So you knew, okay, I need the right mate to help me accomplish this. Y'all jumping in relationships with dudes that don't even have a plan. That's the craziest thing in the world with me. But since y'all not letting them talk to y'all dad, y'all not trying to see where his head is or let your dad see where he's going. That's what y'all ended up with. That's what y'all ending up with. Then y'all ending up with these abusive dudes You know what I'm saying? And you can't go tell your dad, you can't go tell your mom, because 9 times out of 10, you already know them the men that they telling you to stay away from. Them the ones that they already told you wasn't no good. And y'all wondering why we are this way as a people right now. Because we cracked the foundation. We cracked the foundation. We start building a strong foundation. But look back at crack cocaine. Crack cocaine, they flooded the crack in the community. It destroyed the households. It took the fathers out. Most of them got turned out or locked up. It took the mothers out. And it created the addiction cycles. The war on drugs, mass incarceration. They locked a bunch of us up. Families broken apart. Children put in foster homes or foster care or in the system. Generations without guidance. All of that was for one thing, to destroy the family structure. We talk about now, I hear people talk about now, I talked about it before, but I hear people talk about now how the welfare system put the no men in the house law together. All of that was to destroy the family structure because they knew where the power was. They understood what the power was. They knew how to attack us, to destroy us and keep us powerless. And even today, like I said, with this social media bullcrap, with I don't need a man, I don't need a woman, all men ain't this, all women ain't that, division between black men and women, confusion about our roles. Come on, like women, you know what I'm saying, are in their masculine stage now. I watch women, you know what I'm saying, single women take care of kids, do everything the same way back then, when they didn't have fathers, when they didn't have, when men died, when men passed away, when men weren't in the household. I watch women maintain a femininity just as single parents. So when I see these masculine women now that want to be men and want to say they have to be, like, I don't understand that. I don't understand that, because I never saw a woman then that had to be a man to raise kids. No, because just like I said, even in my time, I have aunts and stuff like that. When they had sons, they would turn to my granddad and say, hey, you need to talk to him. He's smelling himself now. They talk to one of my other uncles or talk to hey, you need to talk to your nephew because he's smelling himself now. Yeah, the village, even when they didn't have a dad, the moms made sure that they had the right support system around them. They did that before they even had kids. Yes, they chose the support system with whoever they were choosing as a man. They made sure of that. But all of it leads to one thing: disconnection from the structure. Disconnection from the structure. And these days, I'm not gonna lie, I just looked at this little situation that happened in Shreveport with those babies. RIP to those babies. But that is why the family structure matters more than ever. Because everybody failed those kids. Everybody failed those adults. Because I know people around them knew what was going on. People around them knew what was happening. Somebody could have stepped in. Somebody, you know what I'm saying, could have did something. But now when it's too late, we all want to show sympathy and we all want to say, oh, that's so bad. I guarantee you, some people somewhere right now are saying, I should have did something. I should have said something. I guarantee you. And just like I said, as a father, as an uncle, as a brother, that's my biggest fear. That's my biggest fear. But let me say this as a man. My people choose not to tell me. I don't know that person's situation, but I guarantee you, the women I've been a protector my whole life, my mother, my sisters, my cousins, my aunts, my friends, the girlfriends that I grew up with, they enable that. They enable that type of behavior with those abusers by not telling somebody who would have done something about it. Like I said, I was raised in this real family structure where it was about protection. So, no. If I would have knew if that was my sister, if those were my nieces and nephews, I would have stepped in a time ago. Point blank, period. And if you a brother, if you one of the brothers, the women brothers, if you one of the uncles, whatever, I'm blaming you. I'm blaming you unless you didn't know. But come on now. But let me ask you something. What happened when there is no structure? Look around us. Look around us. Look at that situation. Look at that situation, because let me say this. As a man, I tell people all the time, me personally, I have dated multiple women my whole life. And even then, I kept it to the point where that was my village. I'm not having women fighting over me. I'm not having, women disliking each other. My kids' mother disliking each other. Y'all don't have to sit together, hold hands, and sing kumbaya. But it had to be a mutual respect. I'm gonna make sure of that. Because why would y'all be beefing? Because of me? That's lame. I'm like, why? That's lame. Why would y'all be fighting each other over me? That's lame. Why would I want y'all fighting each other? Especially if both of y'all got my kids. At some point in time, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna have to meet up, or y'all gonna have to come together in the same place or something, because I'm in my kids' lives. So why would I want that? What man wants that? What woman wants that? I'm not telling y'all have to be the best of friends, but if both of y'all have a kid by me, eventually y'all gonna come in my environment. Eventually y'all gonna come in my mother's and my sister's environment, because we are a village. We support each other. So you should at least be able to come in that environment with no bull crap, because that is your support group, whether I'm there or not, whether you with me or not. That is the support group. That is what family is all about. The traditional family structure. Today, I don't know what y'all got going on. I don't want to know what y'all got going on. But what happened when there's no structure? Look at it. You got no leadership. You got no guidance, no accountability, and no unity. Think about that. Think about that. So what does that mean for you and your kids? What kind of support system does that provide for you and your children? But you get chaos, and that's what we're seeing. That is exactly what we're seeing today. That is exactly what we saw the other day with those young kids. RIP, man, to all those kids. And I don't even know what to say about it. But that's what you get, man. That's what you get. You get a bunch of broken homes. And broken homes lead to what exactly what we're seeing today, exactly what's going on today. A bunch of misguided youth and youngsters, lack of identity. They don't know who they are. The parents don't even know who they are. These women are still trying to figure out who they are. But poor decision making, the same cycles of poverty, and just total negativity and destruction. But this is bigger than relationships, man. This is bigger than relationships. And just like I said, everybody want to be with somebody. Everybody wants somebody for them. Everybody wants somebody. Man, this shit is bigger than relationships. This is bigger. Like, this is about survival and rebuilding. This is about survival. It's not about you no more. I swear to God, I realized that alone. I realized that when I had kids. And it's crazy how, you know what I'm saying, people couldn't wait for their kid to get grown so they could say, oh, it's all about me now. I'm living my best life, and this is the third, this is the third. That's why your life is trash right now, because you don't know the purpose. You don't know what you were put here for. You still haven't realized that yet. And that's why you'll forever be suffering in life. But We don't just need love, man. We need alignment, we need discipline, and we need to get back to finding our purpose. Man. Our kids think our girls think they purpose is to have sex and have babies. Our sons think they purpose is to kill each other, you know what I'm saying, and do drugs, you know what I'm saying, and have babies that they don't take care of, like NBA Youngboy. Like that's really what we believe in. I didn't mean to say no names. I hated to say that. But like, let's be real. Let's be real. And then you got the parents, you got the 40, 50-year-old parents that's out here competing with these women, with their daughters. Talking about they cougars. Nah, you just an old perv. Just like you say the dudes are that date younger women. Nah, you not a cougar, you an old perv. Let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it real. But it's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. But like always with this show, man, we talk about the problems that we face, but we also have to talk about the solutions because it's always about getting better. That's the main thing. The main thing is about talking about this, man, because if we know better, we're supposed to do better. But number one, we have to rebuild our personal morals and values. We have to rebuild our personal morals and values. We have to get back to really knowing who we are, helping these kids figure out who they are, helping these kids figure out what do they stand for. Because we have to stand for something. And like I said, look at our youth today. They falling for anything. They falling for the I want you to be, my baby mama, because they don't have no value. You know what I'm saying? They feel like their value is in a dollar amount. Our young ladies feel like their value is in a dollar amount. And that's because their parents told them to make sure they get a man who can do something for them. Don't be messing with no broke men. So now they feel like their value is in a dollar amount. So every time I hear these women nowadays talk about their value, I know it's a dollar amount. It's a dollar amount. And just like I said, they show us this because regardless of what, for the right price, they'll go. For the right price, they'll go. Look at the system that we live in now. For the right price, all these women got a price. A lot of these dudes got a price. They'll sell their manhood for the right price. But know what you stand for. Stop following trends and start following purpose. Start asking God to reveal your purpose. What are you here for? Number 2, choose better partners. Get better criteria. Looks, know what I'm saying, as a man, even back then, looks was like the least thing that counted when it came to me looking for a woman, because I always had a plan. Whether the plan was bad or it wasn't going to work or nothing, I can tell you that I always had a plan. So any woman I dealt with, I was telling her the plan to see how she could help me, accomplish the plan. And in the process, what are her plans so I can help her accomplish her plans. It wasn't just about sex. It wasn't just about how fine she is or how good she looks. That mattered not. That mattered not. But like I said, choose better partners. Stop choosing based on your emotions. Stop choosing based on how he make you feel. Stop choosing based on because he was cute and you was infatuated. Look for alignment in your values. What is your vision? Do he have vision? Do he have a vision that you can support? What does he value in life? Because y'all can see a lot of these dudes value sex. So if y'all choose to deal with dudes who value sex, that's a choice you make. So when you get pregnant and he going on somewhere else for some more sex, that is your problem. That is on you. Because I'm gonna tell you, we get what we can when it comes to sex. Women, y'all control. So as much as y'all want to say, about these dudes and about, I said that a long time ago, and I'm a man. When I was in junior high, you know what I'm saying? When we was riding 820, anybody that rode 820 with me, I used to look at the women and look at the little dudes in there. I'd be like, he's a sucker. He should never get no woman. He should never get no trim. I used to actually look at people. I done had people like dudes like, I done told people, dudes like this right here, he should never get no trim. Dude, this dude right here, he should never be. And them the same ones that y'all was rocking with. Then later on, when y'all see what he's saying, then, oh, he not nothing, oh, he not this, oh, you knew that from the beginning. But you did what you wanted to do. You did what you wanted to do, so stop blaming everybody else. But start teaching your daughter, start telling them the mistakes you made. Start being honest with your daughter and them and tell them, stop trying to tell them that every man that you got hurt you. Tell them the men that I chose, the men that I were attracted to, the men that I wanted to give it to, those turned out to be the bull crap guys. Yeah. Those turned out to be like, I knew your daddy wasn't nothing, but I wanted to be with him. I felt like if I did this and did that, he would stop messing with that other girl he was messing with. Tell the truth. Tell these girls the truth so they quit making the same mistakes. Man. Tell them the truth. Regardless, I know with my faults, I talk to my kids and I tell my kids my faults because I don't want them to make the same mistakes. But I hear these women, I hear these other dudes, I hear acting like, you know, you were just a victim throughout your life. You teaching them to be victims. You teaching them not to be strong and be accountable for their choices and decisions. And that's not helping them. That is not helping them. But we need to get back to finding people that share our values, finding people that share our visions, people with discipline, people with goals. That should be more attractive than how fat our butt is. That should be more attractive than he got dreads. Come on, man, we out of there. But be intentional about procreating, man. Think about it. God said be fruitful and multiply. But y'all out here know what I'm saying, getting with these dudes, sleeping with these dudes without protection. And then realize y'all don't even know these dudes. And then have the nerve to try to hate the dude. Like, how do that work? How do you get a baby by a dude you don't know and you don't like? You moving too fast. You moving too fast. Pull up. Take the time to get to know these people before you start giving these people access to your body. Do you know these people could kill you? Do you know that? Come on, man. Come on. But be intentional about procreation. Not everybody should have access to you, women. I swear to God. I swear to God. And I watched some of y'all that I knew dudes shouldn't have access to y'all. I watched y'all give the wrong access to these dudes. And y'all still bitter about who y'all gave access to. Talk to your daughters. Young ladies, not everybody should have access to you, especially your body. Children deserve stability, not confusion. But young ladies, again, not every man, or just because a man is cute, don't mean a man should have access to your body. That is the most valuable thing that you have. And when you let a buster, broke, sucker have it, it loses value. It loses value. It loses value because a real man can look at the men you deal. That's why, you know, how many dudes, you know what I'm saying, you had. Yeah, that's one thing. But a real man can look at the dudes you deal with and tell you don't value yourself. And that shouldn't be, it shouldn't be that easy. But strong co-parenting, man. I'm going to tell you, if you have a child that has a child and you feel like because you don't like his kid's mother or you don't like the dad, that you not getting in it and that you not going to make your son or your daughter get on top of their business, then you a part of the problem. You a part of the problem. Because as a granddad, I would talk to the mom, I would talk to the dad, I would talk to anybody that I need to talk to make sure they doing what's best for their child while I'm doing my part. So let's keep it real. but strong co-parent. Even like I tell people all the time, it didn't work out with my kids' mom. It didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason. But they can never tell you that I wasn't there for my kids. They can never tell you that anything prevented them from being able to call me and say, hey, I need you, or hey, they need you, or hey, I need help, or hey, can you get them? And they can never say I didn't answer, and they can never say I didn't come through, because it's bigger than the bullshit. It's about the kids. It's about the kids. But even if it didn't work out, work together for the child. That is your child. That is your seed. If you don't want the best for your child, if you're not willing to overlook some stuff to make sure you can do the best for your child, something wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. For real. Mother, father, anybody. If you let your feelings and your emotions put you in a situation where you can't work with your child's other parent to make sure with the best, make sure you getting the best for your child, something is wrong with you. Something is seriously wrong with you. And you might not need no kid. Keep it a buck. But build extended family systems. Friends become family. Support systems matter. Community must be intentional. Community must be intentional. It got to be. I'm going to always maintain a strong family structure. I'm going to always maintain an extended family structure. Always. Always. I'm going to always have help. Even right now, my oldest kid is 12. But if I need help with my granddaughter, I got somebody that I could call to pick her up, to keep her, to help me with her, to get it, whatever I need done. And I make sure my daughter know that, man, because they never feel like they don't have help or they don't have support. And if they do feel like that, then the parents not doing enough, man. The parents not doing enough. Focus on legacy. What are you building? What are you leaving behind? What are you going to leave to your kids when you leave? My kid they not in the right mind state. They might destroy it, but I'm planning to leave it to my grandkids to give them a head start, to get them to something that they can build. Even these videos, putting these videos. Hopefully these videos are here a long time when I'm gone, so my grandkids, when they get old enough to understand, they can look at these videos and get a strong idea of what their granddad stood for. All of this count, man. All of this count. But this is about long-term thinking. And that's what I always say. We got to change our mindset, because we thinking in today and we thinking right now and we think, but this is long-term thinking. But listen, this conversation is never easy. These conversations, they're never easy, but they're necessary. They're absolutely necessary. If we want to rebuild our communities, we have to rebuild the foundation. And that starts with the individual, the family, the structure. How much time we got, man? Oh, but we've done it before. We've done it in ancient times. We did it after slavery. We can do it again. But that's the only way we're gonna make it. Because if we keep, moving like we're moving now, all I see is death and destruction for our future and future generations. But like I said, we can do it again. But if we're going to do it, it's going to take discipline, it's going to take accountability, and it's going to take unity. And if this message hits you tonight, I need you to share this live stream. I need you to tag somebody who needed to hear this. And I need you to continue to have these conversations in your circles. You got to talk about it. You got to talk about it. But most importantly, we need to start making different choices. That's where it starts, because change doesn't start in the community. Change starts with you. Change starts with me. This is Mr. O'Neill, and this is the P-Ave Perspective. God willing, I'll see you all again next week. Peace.